Hello, my friends, all the friends of Cosmic Agency. My name is Gosia. I'm very happy to be presenting to you this video today, the first one of the series in the solar system. I know I've been talking about this series for a very long time, but there are always new videos piling up, and those older ones get buried a little bit. But this is very interesting topic, and especially because the big part of this topic has been declassified, we can share it. So I decided I'm gonna go into it. This first part is going to be about Venus. The first time when it was given to us, it was given by Swaruu of Erra in 2019, and there's going to be a part given by Aneeka as well around that time. And unfortunately, when Robert shared it back then, I did it in Spanish. The big part of it was classified. We couldn't really share it. We didn't have the permission. But I did ask Athena, Swaruu X, a few days ago if I can share that part. And this is relating to the relation within Venus and the war of Vietnam. And she gave us a permission to publish this. So I'm going to present to you this whole topic complete as it was given to us. As you will see, some of our expressions or the way we were thinking, and it's going to be reflected in our questions, were still a little innocent. And we still referred to 5D and the 3D a lot. And as you will see, we still didn't fully grasp how the reality is in 5D. And you will see that reflected in the questions. So just have that in mind. It was 2 years ago that we asked those questions. So here's the video. Enjoy it. I'm sure some of it will be quite surprising to you. And I'm going to see your little comments inside the video. Oh, and by the way, Valiant Thor and Philadelphia experiment will also be mentioned at the end with Aneeka part. So all in all, a very, very interesting information. Enjoy.
Some points to consider. I cannot detail inhabitants of Jupiter. I cannot explain inhabitants of Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. It is not a good idea that this is known yet. What you should know is that it is a large solar system with 13 planets. The problem is that there will be a large hole there in terms of those planets. What happens is that it is not life as you know it, or as it would be expected. If we go into it, we will enter a complicated metaphysical spiral. And those of Jupiter are among the ones who have explicitly said that they should not be mentioned. The subject is delicate.
Okay, let's go part by part, Swaruu. Why do you say this solar system is big? 13 planets?
Because it has more planets than what they say. It's just that the governments hide 4 missing ones, and another that we consider planet. The governments know. Pluto.
Wow, thanks. And life in all of them is the constant?
Yes, only that some are exiting, so to speak. They had life and now they go into decline, and in the process of returning to be potential energy. Like Mercury or Pluto, or like 3 of the 4 that are unknown on Earth. Others are in full splendor, like Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Others go rising, developing complex life, accepting new from other places, like Europe, like Titan. Jupiter is more like a sun, less like a planet. That is why on the Federation on star maps, this solar system is called Sun 13.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. Imagine that you go out through the portal of the star Sun 13. That is the correct name, right?
Yes.
Okay. and you would arrive in this solar system. The first planet is Mercury?
Mercury. Hot planet devoid of life, only of primordial consciousness that in itself is life. But it is only the planet itself as consciousness, as an entity. It is very close to the Sun. The energy there is very high, but it is not conducive to biological, organic life as you know it. It is just respected. There is not much to do there. There are no bases either. The environment is too hostile. Too much radiation. Not heat, radiation. There may be tech relay stations, markers, that's all, like lighthouses. The only thing on Mercury are relay stations or repeaters of muonic signals.
Like lighthouses? Excuse my ignorance. Who built those lighthouses, and does it have artificial satellites?
They are like naval lighthouses, like those on a rock in the sea, so that the ships do not crash there. It has no artificial satellites, only surface devices. There are scientific sensors of various races as well, including Taygeta. They send signals to ships about solar activity and spaceships' transit. That's it. But who has put them there? Multiple races, including us.
Okay, Swaruu, let's go to the next planet. If I remember correctly, it's Venus. How is Venus?
Okay, like Mars, Venus is the planet with the biggest story. What humans see from Earth with instruments is just a filtered part of a larger energy spectrum. They only see a very small part of what is here. They see Venus as a place full of acid, methane clouds, and horribly high temperatures. What you see is the, let's say, 3D part of Venus, not all of it. Everything that is outside the Earth is 5D, as we have already said. They only see up to number 3. They see 1, 2, or 3, but they don't see components 4 and 5 of Venus, so to speak. Venus is not a hellish planet. Venus is a tropical paradise planet. It is comparable to Temmer, mostly made of sea with large islands. It is full of life, especially marine life. Its climate is temperate to warm, but with an average temperature of about 30 degrees. Full of palm trees and other trees. Venus is the friendliest planet for life as we know it in the entire solar system. Not Earth, it is Venus. And the Earth is like Erra, mostly forests, but like the Earth was before the flood, because now it has more water than Erra. Who inhabits it? More human Venusians, exactly like those on Earth. The transits were made from Earth to Venus and vice versa through the Antarctic bases, with shuttle ships with fixed itineraries, until the Federation blockade. Now it can only be done through portals. Venus is a resort tropical planet for the Cabal. It is taken. It has the normal population there, the same problems as on Earth, just that the New World Order is already there. They have a monetary economy, but it is the same as on Earth. The natives of Venus, if there is such a thing, have been extinct or incorporated into the normal population about 50 to 80 years ago. The Federation maintains space lock on Venus also, as it is part of the same Earth problem as an annex to Earth. Venus is annexed to Earth. Same thing with the same problem. It's as if it was more Earth. The Federation's main base on Venus is the Varena biosphere ship, identical sister to the Erra present here in Earth orbit. Small biosphere ships, only 811 kilometers long by 300 kilometers wide, shaped like wedges or large triangles, not spherical like larger biosphere ships. By the way, the small triangular ships that fly around the Earth and are common to see are of human origin, retro-engineered and of the TR family. TR-3A, TR-3B, TR-4 and the like. But countless races use the triangle. But the one that is seen with red plasma in each of the three corners is of human origin.
And I imagine that the oxygen is the same as that of the Earth?
Oxygen is better than Earth's. Venus is the best planet for human life.
Okay, but aren't they in 5D on Venus? There are no Van Allen bands, and there are no Van Allen bands on Mercury either, right?
No, they are 5D planets.
How can humans live on Venus? Will they have openness of consciousness and telepathy?
No problem. On the contrary, the elite go there to rejuvenate themselves.
Activated DNA.
Yes, naturally. In large part, it is why the Rothschilds and other mummies like G. Soros do not die, because they go there for their facelift. Do they want to come back here later? But it has been said that after living in 5D, you don't want to go back to Earth. Of course not. Unless you are an arrogant billionaire who wants world dominance. Many hide there. All that elite that vanishes, that they say has left California. All that elite that mysteriously travels to Antarctica. You know now what they do.
What happened to the indigenous humans? Were they like the Scandinavians here on Earth?
They have intermingled with the normal population, which is not much in the millions.
And there are no reptiles there because they can't live in 5D, right? What language is spoken there? Do they have any religion? Everyone has the chip?
Yes, there are regressives in 5D, but not the same or with the same control dynamics as on Earth. They are there using a human vehicle, like Soros' body. What language? Multiple languages, but all Earth-based, mostly English. Religion, same as on Earth, just twisted. Chip. They don't need chips, like the ones they are telling you about, in the form of a grain of rice under the skin. They use advanced nanochips or smart dust, also already on Earth.
So this is the point at which Robert, when he shared this information in Spanish, I think from what I remember, more or less, this is where he finished. We didn't have the authorization to continue. So whatever follows from now is new, and it has not been published in Spanish yet. So enjoy it.
Okay, thanks. One thing is not clear to me. So they are not ETs there, really. It's a planet taken over by the Cabal. Are humans imported there? Or are there also native Venusians? And how are the authentic Venusians without human influences? Yes, I have omitted this information for reasons that you will gradually understand. You weren't ready for this, or I thought you might believe I was crazy. Those people are more human too. They were implanted there from Earth. There is a part here that can cause problems, and that is that the Cabal hides the data in plain light, or at least it did. This topic is highly classified. It goes hand in hand with the disappearance of many people in the 1960s. What happens is this. The Secret Space Program, or SSP, was used in the late 1950s and early 1960s for invasive purposes against the Venusian population. The now top-secret project with classified documents was called Operation Venus Haven, as a war operation by the Pentagon dated August 1955. The surface of Venus was divided into designated parts as territories with the Cabal name. The project runs until 1972-75 perhaps. The Vietnam War was in part a cover or distractor for a more significant war in progress that was happening at the same time: the conquest of Venus. And that is why the Vietnam War needed to be very long, because it was the duration of the other war. Vietnam only justified the expenses and the lives lost. It was used as a diversion or excuse for both monetary resources and military personnel. Cover to justify expenses and deaths of soldiers. It's not that the Vietnam War did not happen. Of course it did. But it was also a distractor cover for operations on Venus by the SSP.
How did they allow themselves to be conquered?
Because as always, Cabal came with weapons that they didn't have. They weren't as advanced as Adamski makes them out to be.
Is the surface of Venus larger than that of Earth? Did they kill the Venusians?
No, it is the same size, but it contains more surface of seas. Yes, they were mostly killed. How many were there? About 60 million.
Was it a holographic civilization?
Yes, but with little technological advance. Vulnerable to an invasion from outside, exactly as it happened. What weapons were used? All that were within range of the Cabal, including tanks and M16 assault rifles. More than anything, the same technology that was used in Vietnam, because the fight was contemporary. But what I don't understand is how they were able to move so many people there to 5D, soldiers, etc., and then returning them back to Earth to 3D again, all activated? Because to make these wars, I imagine they had a lot of people working for them. In the same way that the Apollo program was developed. Everything compartmentalized. And you cannot see the whole from a particular position. Many of the soldiers who fought there and the war supplies, aircrafts F-4, A-6, A-4, etc., helicopters of the type HU-1 Huey and AH-1 Cobra are classified as lost in action over Vietnam when they were taken to Venus. The population of Venus was not that large, and it was not technologically developed. They were easy targets. It didn't take so many men.
How old would Venus be compared to Earth?
It was different, but it is comparable to attacking an advancing planet of ancient Greece type.
But spiritually, very high, I would guess.
Yes, that's why I chose ancient Greece. Much spiritual advance, but little technology.
So humanity would be guilty of genocide with another non-terrestrial civilization.
It's not humanity, I imagine. They are reptiles. It's just that, Gosha, humanity as a race does not exist. Humanity in 3D is a compendium or mixture of countless extraterrestrial races using essentially the same biosuit.
But how come humans shot others while in 5D?
Because as I have already explained to you regarding 5D, humans take 3D with them as low-frequency 3D beings, fabricating their world as they advance. Remember, people are the Matrix. If someone is the Matrix, they will take it with them wherever they go. They are the Cabal, the same ones who wage wars on Earth, the same ones. I have a question regarding the human biosuit. You say that human race does not exist as such, I understand, but how does this fit with the Lyrian race? I thought humans are Lyrians, their descendants. Yes, but that is the basis for the creation of the so-called biosuit or human body. In themselves, as 3D humanoid beings, they are the only ones in existence. Genetically altered by manipulation of consciousness and by direct manipulation in the laboratory with the support of the 3D generating lunar frequencies to suppress the connection of humans with the original source. Because if they had a total connection, they would reactivate their DNA, erasing the changes that have been made to them in the laboratory. For that, the suppression of frequencies. What laboratory? You mean 3D matrix from the moon? Multiple ones throughout the centuries, not just one. We have already said that mind control is how changes are made, or artificially made changes are cemented. So how do laboratories fit in? No, not as a species, not in the laboratory. However, throughout history, changes in the laboratory have been made, but as you know, they are naturally reversed. The only way to prevent them from reversing is to keep humans in a low vibratory state. Even today, things are made in laboratories, but they do not define the entire species. Reptiles, yes? Mostly, yes. There is no doubt that changes have been made in the laboratory. but they are not the changes as defining the species. They are isolated changes here and there over thousands of years.
What changes are we talking about?
Changes from Lyrian to human.
That is, are we going in regression?
It is not regression, it is change.
But degenerative.
From a point of view, yes. For humans, yes, the change is negative. The biggest change is because the human body has been designed to be a container for multiple souls that come with different requirements according to the species they belonged to before. That's why I don't see it as a species, but as a biosuit. I would like to know if other ET races participated in these laboratory projects with the reptiles to prepare this biosuit. It is said that they mostly did not participate. Only when the 3D matrix was already there, the other races began to enter Earth to have the experience of being human.
Okay. Going back to Venus, only the Earth has the Van Allen bands, right? Not Venus?
Only Earth. Venus does not have a moon, Mars either, since Phobos and Deimos are bases, rock-shaped ships, the most common, or of the most common form.
Those from SSP screwed anyone else?
They were about to screw Callistus. They established bases on Mars by militarizing 1/3 of Mars. Mars is now divided into 3 highly militarized sectors with borders that make the border between North and South Korea seem pale. 3 sectors of equal size. One reptile, Earth Cabal, the other Mantis, the last Maitre or Tall Grace.
But what implication did the reptiles have with Venus? We know that the reptiles are on Mars, but on Venus too? Or underground?
They are militarily underground in dumps on Venus. Yes, with technology to maintain frequency.
Are they there trying to lower the frequency to 3D too? Or is this something that can only be done technologically from the moon and only cementing with mind control?
They can't, because they don't have the lunar matrix. They do it with Gwen Tower technology and Venusian HARP. But it is insufficient, so they can only live inside a human biosuit or in special dumps. That is why they are interested in the human biosuit. They can go out through it to other points of the universe. That's right, Gosha. The human biosuit is essential for reptiles and other retrograde or regressive races. Without the human body, they cannot go far or inhabit certain planets.
And on Venus, do they know anything about Earth?
They do not know of the existence of the Earth as a general population. The Earth for them is a place with toxic gases and very cold because it is further from the sun. Or that kind of garbage they sell them. They have a different dynamic of mind control because they have just been invaded and they are trying to sell the story that they were liberated, like Iraq, Afghanistan, and so on. This is all so strange to me, because they are still in 5D. I thought that in 5D, these types of manipulations and situations are no longer possible, or that they are not common. Yes, it is possible, but with a different methodology. 5D is not a density of total love. It is a zoo.
Was the SSP interstellar? But did it have warp technology? How did they get to Venus? Only through portals? Where were those portals?
They didn't have warp at first, then on small ships. The big ones of the SSP had ionic propulsion and other forms. But that is propulsion coming at low speeds, like 60% of the speed of light. Portals are a problem, and they are in many places. They are ancient ones in ruins, that's why they invaded Iraq to seize the portals. And there are modern ones in area S4, 51, 28, 34, below the Pentagon, below NORAD Cheyenne Mountain, and even in some special buildings. They are difficult to find and to destroy. They are in the dumps especially, very deep underground. You said they only escape through portals. But if they can occupy the human body, they can pretend to be the good guys and go anywhere in the universe this way, right? That's exactly right. And what exactly do these reptiles want to achieve? Why don't they stay happy in one place? Because spreading is their instinct. We need room to breathe. Quote Hitler, 1938.
Okay. We said that Venus did not have moons or Van Allen bands. But I imagine that, like all other planets, it has a toroid shape, with its two cavities north and south.
All planets have that shape, because that's how they have been formed. They are like cells, also toroids, with two cavities north-south, yes, intraterrestrial life, etc., like any other planet. Chat with Aneeka. Aneeka, the soldiers who went there, did they know where they were going? And did they know where they were? When they came back, wasn't it dangerous to let them loose?
It cannot be known for sure, and I've asked myself the same thing. Most of the terrain on Venus looks like Vietnam in terms of climate and vegetation. It is very possible that they were taken there and they would think that they are in Vietnam. As for the indigenous population, it is possible that they did not come into direct contact with them, but that is speculating. The problem with this theory is that the population of Venus was more towards the Nordic with Alfretino-Latino appearance and not Oriental as in Vietnam. However, during many operations of military personnel in Vietnam, encounters with Nordic-looking enemies with strange technology are reported, but this is officially explained as encounters with advisors and Russian military aid to North Vietnam Hanoi. Contact is also reported with non-human-looking combat beings, congruent to Yotiha, that is said to have inspired the 1986 film Predator. It is reported that Huey UH-1 helicopters were sent to Vietnam that never arrived there and were sent to Venus. The type of military forces sent to Vietnam were not normal forces, but special operations such as Navy SEALs and elite units of the Army that would later become what is today the Delta Force, that was inaugurated in the early 80s. That is to say, highly trained soldiers and in small groups of 4 to 8 men, similar in movement to Taygeta's Hashmalim and Shinonim spacecrafts. I have it all structured and documented. There's not much data on what happens on Venus today. It is totally dominated by the terrestrial Cabal, and it is like an Earth's branch. But the command and control of the Cabal is the Earth. They are known to treat it as a summer resort for the super elite, who use jump rooms to get there, portals, and they divided up the planet Venus completely by giving Cabal names to the islands and regions there, with names like New Kamchatka, for example.
Now, these maps, as Aneeka is confirming here, they are correct geographically. She said that this is the proper positioning of those lands, as she could confirm by her own navigation systems. The names, that's kind of dubious. We don't know exactly what those names are referring to, and she couldn't confirm it either 100% at that time. But the position, the geographical location of the lands is correct.
I'm not sure why they are different. It is possible that today they say that it is due to something else. The map does not correspond to the shape of the islands, but why each region is called, that is what I cannot corroborate. The shape of the map is consistent with my navigation maps. The position of the islands is correct.
Thank you, Aneeka. How come the Federation allowed humans to invade Venus in the first place? How was that possible?
Because they themselves propitiated the invasion of Venus, being only a variant of Earth kept that way for the same reasons. That is, Earth is one like a training theme park for souls, and Venus is another one, related and connected, but different. The Cabal moves in dualities at an obsessive level already, being that they see the Earth as the place where everything must be kept in low frequency suffering, and Venus must be kept in what is, for them, an idyllic place for the elites. The Venus subject is difficult to understand as it is so extreme, being that for humans, Venus is only a planet of acid and high temperatures, and the terrestrial scientific evidence confirms it. But in other density, it is a tropical paradise planet.
Other humans lived in an idyllic matrix on Venus? How did humans get to Venus? Only through portals? And who provided the coordinates to access that density in place?
Yes, they were natives there, more Lyrians, who also arrived there because of the Great Expansion. They got there exclusively through portals, and among other reasons, that is why the Vietnam was for, not only to cover up the invasion of Venus, but for many things as a whole, such as the dominance of drug networks in the area and as a population control. It is a very complex subject, Venus. These words that I say today, I know that a few will be able to understand them as something possible. Coordinates of the place, 2 sources, contained within millenary information in control of the Cabal, and from Federation sources, also who agreed or even planned the invasion. This is to extend the 3D matrix, because today on Venus, there are 5-star hotels and nightclubs, jet skis, yachts, and all kinds of water sports, exactly the same as on Earth. But only people, very Cabal elites, can access that place, which is incomprehensible to the average population of the Earth. It is said that the elite escape underground, and that is why they cannot destroy humanity because it would affect them too. They do not escape underground only, even with the large facilities that are there, but there they move through portals to their second planet Venus and third planet Mars.
And why don't they go to Venus instead of messing with Earth?
Because they want her. They are invasive.
One more question. Venus is in 5D. How has this Cabal control managed to happen there too? The human manifestations have reached there too? Or is the Federation itself also controlling Venus?
That's right. The same Federation controls Venus through Earth. Mars is more complicated. Yes, it is a mess there. There is another Andromedan biosphere ship named Verena there in Venusian orbit just now, the same as the Erra is here. They're sister ships, small triangular biospheres, not spherical like the great Andromedan ones.
What were the Venusians like? Were they all one race? Not like on Earth where there are many.
Yes, but as human being, more human. On Earth, what they say to be races are only colors and variants of the same one. That, as Veru has explained, does not even reach to be a race because it is artificially altered, but not as the Sumerian tablets say. There was not much difference between Venusians and humans. From Earth's perspective, people see it as another planet, Venus, distant and strange. From the stellar perspective, and for us, they are very close planets, extremely close. 80% or more of the plant and animal species are the same between the two. They're not far away. As you will see, everything is perception. Even Phaedon, or planet Alphrata Alpha Centauri A1, is almost equal to Earth. You can see it with a very expanded lens. You will see that at this corner of the galaxy is all connected and everything is very close. Talking about species and their evolution, planets and suns themselves. Out in the galaxy, there are very strange things that differ completely from what is seen as normal on Earth. There is everything, similar and different. But for different, you have to move a little further, or look inside those very planets, but in secluded places. For that, you don't even have to leave the Earth. You just do the same. Search in strange places, like inside the Amazons, the Belgian Congo, or under the oceans, or deep in caverns.
Now, something that you will find very interesting, the story of Valiant Thor. Well, we now present the story of Valiant Thor, but he will be mentioned here. Valiant Thor was a supposed Venusian, a commander of Venusian forces here on Earth, who, as far as I remember, landed in Washington, D.C., and demanded to speak to President Eisenhower. And for the next 3 years, he was living inside the Pentagon and working with the top scientists and government officials. Now, he claimed he was from Venus. However, as our Taigetan team has informed us, Valiant Thor really was a Taigetan Pleiadian, part of their own team. And his real name, because he was just using that name, alias Valiant Thor, his real name was Thorel. And this will be explained in this short section here, why he was choosing to be saying he was from Venus. Another clarification here from our Taigetan team, there is this photo that is floating around, supposedly of Valiant Thor, that photo. However, as they explained to us that is not his real photo. There is only one real photo of Thor-El, Valiant Thor, and it is this one. This is the real Valiant Thor. And this photo was taken on the boat, on the ship Eldridge. On the ship Eldridge ship that was part of the Philadelphia experiment. So here the Philadelphia experiment also will be mentioned by Aneeka. She will explain briefly what it is that went wrong in those experiments. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy until the end of this video.
Aneeka, do you know why your colleague, I think his name is Thor-El or something like that?
The big one, yes. His name is actually Thor-El, but he used the name Valiant Thor. Today, there's a campaign to discredit that he was real.
Why did they say he is from Venus?
Because he said so.
And why did he say he was from Venus? For security?
I don't know why exactly, but as means of infiltrating the system, as part of them from the Pentagon. Yes, for security, you'd say.
But at that time, Venus was already invaded. Or not yet?
Not yet. What happened there with Valiant Thor was from 5758 to 6061, and the invasion of Venus took place from 65 to 72. It is all very murky, that story. I even have detected efforts to discredit that one real photo of him. That event is in the USS Eldridge boardroom, the very same destroyer of Philadelphia experiment.
And what was he doing there? Did he give them technology?
He helped, yes, sometimes without knowing it, for believing that there is a good side.
Aneeka, what happened to that boat? Did it disappear? Did it go to another density? Is it true that it just dematerialized?
The Eldridge. It was still in service, it was remodeled, and then sold for scrap. And yes, correct. It went to another density, but many times, because the first experiment was in October 1943. And there, Valiant Thor is on the ship around 1960. They created a portal around it.
And something went wrong, right?
The first time, yes, but there were many more times.
Not later?
Later, no. The problem was that it was a low-energy portal for the unstable mass of the ship, non-uniform, and with chaotic frequencies. That technology is perfected and in operation on the Los Angeles class and Virginia class submarines. Yes, it went to another place, in the same way that starships do, changing the molecular frequency, but they did it in a disorderly way and with little technology, causing a disaster and many deaths on board. They put electromagnetism generators in it that wrapped the entire ship, like spacecraft, but they knew nothing about frequency modulation. They only created a lot of electromagnetism on it, and that's it, which caused the ship to jump to another place. It is not known where, but from what I understand, it was not a single piece that went to another place, but rather in parts or to different places. That's why it is reported that there were sailors half inside the metal of the ship's deck and other horrible things. They used the same principle of wrapping a ship in a toroidal electromagnetic cocoon so that the dominant frequency would move it from there or give it invisibility. but they had no idea about the importance of controlled modulation of the frequency.
They say that the crew had become invisible in the eyes of others.
Yes, in another density, in a chaotic way.
Density or timeline.
Both are intertwined, inseparable. Densities and timelines.
It's like consciousness and ether, right?
Yes, you cannot travel through ether, hyperspace travel, without also traveling through time.
Well, this is the information about Venus. This is all the information we have at this time about what really went on with the war of Vietnam. As you see, no single war on the planet Earth happens for the reasons as they are given to the public, and there's always so much more behind. I know that this story is quite incredible, but these are facts. We already know that the SSP program has been in space and has been involved with different operations outside Earth. So for those of you who know this is not going to be a special surprise. Still, it was for me. So I know it's a bit discouraging knowing that there is Cabal, in so many different places, and with so much influence, not just on Earth but outside. But well, that's the reality. That's the way things are. And from our side, all of us, the Starseeds, we just need to be doing what we need to be doing. What we feel needs to be done, no matter what. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. As always, we continue. Bye!